All right, what is up, Utah fans? This is Joseph back with the Utah Utes Football Digest, and Deck the Halls with Christmas Eve videos continues. Merry Christmas, guys. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Naquari Rogers. Naquari Rogers is a running back transfer from New Mexico, so coming with his offensive coordinator and his quarterback and his wide receiver. Naquari Rogers is a very underrated player that Utah picked up. Just to be clear, the production's not crazy. We're gonna dive into it, but you dig a little deeper, and what he was able to do with the opportunities he had was very good. And I think if you're sleeping on Rogers, you're making a mistake. This kid looks really good. I'm excited to dive in. There's so many big name transfers coming in, coming out that I think Rodgers got swept under the rug a little bit and hasn't gotten the recognition he deserves. I'm excited to dive in, guys. Before we do so, make sure you smash that like button. That's going to help get the video out to more Utah fans. Also, comment down below. What do you guys think of Naquari Rogers? Is he way underrated? Am I making too much of it? Am I making him sound better than he is? I want to know your thoughts. Also, the show is a part of the 1012 network. You can see here the Charlie Hustle gear. Charlie Hustle sponsors the 1012 network. Go to charliehustle.com. It's vintage made fresh, really great clothing. I love their clothes. Use code 101215 at checkout for 15% off any non-sale items. On top of that, just again, yeah, charliehustle.com, 10, 12, 15% off any non-sale items. Also, guys, this is not the last video. I'm going to keep them coming today. You're going to get a lot more content before it's all over. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you are subscribed, make sure the notification bell is checked so as the new videos come rolling in, you guys are getting the updates on your phone and getting alerted. Let's go ahead and dive in and check out Naquari Rogers. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and dive into the numbers here. So he has played 3 years of college football, 2 years at Campbell, and then 1 year at New Mexico. Guys, the numbers are exciting. So this is his New Mexico season. And one thing that really stands out to me here is in the big rivalry game when they play New Mexico State, which is a pretty heated rivalry. He went off at an 83.9 grade, 21 carries, 121 yards, made a name for himself, 3 rushing touchdowns, just the game of the season for Naquari Rogers, and it was in a big time game. Also against Utah State, 9 carries for 5.8 yards a carry, 52 yards. And what I like here, guys, is when he did get opportunities where they gave him a good amount of carries, he did great. Like you look, all the games where he had a good amount of carries, he looked great. It's really correlated. So New Mexico State, 21 carries, 5.8 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. Utah State, 9 carries, 52 yards, 5.8 yards a carry. Hawaii, 16 carries, 86 yards, 5.4 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. And what I'm talking about here, guys, is this is a guy that every single opportunity New Mexico gave him a chance to get a good amount of snaps in that 10 snap to 15 snap range, if not higher. He showed up and he showed out and he looked good. And even Washington State, he didn't get a ton of carries, but damn, feed the guy, right? 6 carries, 48 yards, 8 yards a carry. Very good numbers there. And then we go ahead and take a little bit of a deeper look here, guys. So going down here, this is where he graded out on each season, and then it'll have more details too. So he had 76 carries last season for 386 yards, is 5.1 yards a carry. Yards after contact per attempt is 2.99. But then I like this, guys. This is what really impresses me. He only had a long of 29. And a long of 29 is not crazy. But look at this number. 10 plus 10 plus yards on carries. 6 of his 76 carries went for 10 plus yards. I believe that's about 8%. So 1 out of every 10 carries he was getting is, close to 1 out of every, that'd be like 10%, but close to 1 out of every 10 carries this kid is getting, he is taking it for 10 plus yards. And then you look here, guys, 15 plus yard carries, 3 out of 76. So that's 4 to 5% of his carries are going for 15 plus yards. That's a very good number. And then fumbles, any fumbles for the young man? No, 0 fumbles on 76 carries last year. He has 1 fumble in his entire career, and that's 249 carries with 1 fumble and 15 touchdowns. Again, 10 of those touchdowns were at Campbell against lower competition, but still, very, very exciting stuff here, guys. I think when you look at Naquari Rodgers, you can't help but be excited. I'm very impressed with the guy, and I think there's a lot to look forward to here. I think you'd like a little better yards, yards yards after contact per attempt, but is what it is there. I mean, a guy that's putting up 5.1 yards a carry, that means he's hitting the hole hard and he's getting some yards before he gets touched. So that could be a positive as much as it is a negative. And now I'm going to give my final thoughts on Naquari Rodgers. Okay, guys, and I got to tell you, he's a guy that I've been really impressed with. I've been excited to make his video while I was on vacation because I really liked how the profile looked and how he could translate over to Utah. So you look here, the other thing I think is worth pointing out is he's 5'11", 208 pounds. He's actually from Virginia Beach, Virginia. That is less than an hour from where I live now. So, or maybe 2 hours. So we're in Richmond, so not too far from Virginia Beach. But the kid is quite impressive here, right? ESPN has him at 5.2 yards a carry. PFF had him at 5.1, same difference. Really good numbers, though, guys. I think you got to be impressed with what he was putting up here. And he really did great stuff. He's proven to be a good player throughout his time in college, and he's big enough, right? I said 5'11", 208 pounds. He's big enough to be a guy that can get a lot of carries in a game. And I think Mike Washington decommitting is a big bonus for Naquari Rodgers. So let's take a look at the numbers. Now, I doubt he's going to continue. If you're averaging 5.1 yards a carry in the Mountain West, you're probably going to see a small decrease heading into, the P4. But also, I think Utah has a good offensive line, if not a great offensive line. Last year was a really impressive year, especially with the offensive tackles. So let's imagine he goes from 5.1 down to like 4.5. So a decent little adjustment, but nothing crazy, right? So 4.5 yards a carry. With his size, I think it's absolutely realistic that he could be getting 12, 13 yard or carries per game. So let's say 12, right? He's going to compete with a good running back room, some talented young guys coming in, as well as, Dampier is going to get a lot of carries, which he's used to. The good thing is Dampier will trust the audible to him and give him handoffs when he needs to, but he's also competing with Wayshawn Parker. So I think 12 is a safe number, but I'll go ahead and knock it down to 10 just to be as realistic as possible. So 10 carries per game at 4.5 yards a carry. Multiply that by 12. That would put the kid at 540 carries. You consider that about 1 touchdown for every 100 yards. He should be at about 5 to 6 touchdowns on top of that. I also hope he could get a little more involved in the receiving game this year. But either way, that's kind of the number I'd guess. I'd probably imagine on the low end, he's more like 350 to 400 yards. On the high end, if he can really carve out a role and get his average more to what it was at New Mexico against Mountain West competition, he could be in that 600 to 700 yard area. I got to tell you guys, I'm very impressed. The PFF grades are very good from this kid. And I think he is going to come in and not expect, hey, I'm the number 2 to Wayshawn Parker. No, I think this guy is going to be hungry. He's going to want to fight for those starting reps, and he knows the offense. He knows the quarterback. He knows the receiver. He is a guy that has not grown up in this offense, but been a part of it for a year already, seen a decent amount of success, and has the body to play a bigger role. And maybe if Utah feels that he needs to gain a little more weight to be an every down guy, he can do that before the season starts. So very excited. I think this is a huge pickup. It's a good fit for Naquari Rodgers. It's a good fit for Utah, and a guy I'm very excited to see in a Utah uniform. Guys, before we get out of here, smash that like button. That'll help get the video out to more Utah fans. Also, comment down below, what are you guys thinking about Naquari Rodgers? What type of impact does he have next year? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like I said, guys, we are decking the halls with Utah videos. Merry Christmas, little Christmas Eve present. And that is it for this video. I'm out. And hit the notification bell. Go Utes.